So you're after an SUV, but it needs to be cheap. No, like really cheap. Well, you're in luck, because I'm joined by the brand new Dacia Duster. What's it like? Well, let's go for a spin, find out. So, Duster, let's jump in. Bit of a silly name, I won't lie, but that's merely my opinion. What isn't silly is the sheer amount of value this car gives you. Right, I've only got this car for a limited amount of time. So let's take it out for a spin and see what's what. So in case you aren't aware, Dacia is part of the Renault group, and its ethos is to offer no-nonsense, cheap cars. And the new Duster is a great example of that. This car, well not this particular car, starts from just £9,995. So you can have a family SUV for less than 10 grand, which is pretty good. It's 4 figures. There are 2 engines available, so you can either have a 1.6 litre petrol, which offers 113 brake horsepower, or a 1.5 litre diesel, which also offers 113 brake horsepower. I've got the 1.6 litre engine at my disposal, which is mated to a 5-speed manual gearbox. The new Duster may look quite similar to its predecessor, but every body panel is completely new. The new car's got a more muscular look, but it's not actually any bigger than its predecessor. So it may look beefed up and muscular, but it's actually exactly the same size. This means the boot is also the same size. If you go for a 2-wheel drive model, as I have here, you're looking at 445 litres, but if you go for a 4-wheel drive model, it does fall down a little bit. It's a little bit less than 400. So this is the 2nd generation Duster, and quite a few changes have been made. As I mentioned earlier, it's got a new look, it's got new body panels. The inside has been made to be more comfortable, so the seats have got a denser foam to them, so they're more spongy, they're more comfortable. The height adjustment is also got more range to it, so therefore you can get a better driving position easier. And I have to say, these seats are quite nice to sit in. I reckon for a longer journey, your lower back would start to ache after a while, but it's a cheap car. It's made to a price. So it's not going to have any fancy electronically adjustable settings or lumbar support or anything like that. But even so, whilst I've been driving it on this admittedly short drive, it's been comfortable. The ride is pretty good as well. Has got a firm edge to it, but at no point have I felt like my teeth are going to fall out. As well as offering more comfort, the new Duster has got a revised electric power steering setup, which requires less effort when turning. Let's try it out. Oh yes, works very well. The steering when you're at low speeds is very light. This car is very easy to manoeuvre. So if you're looking to drive it around town or in tight car parks, you should have no problem whatsoever, because it's a doddle. So let's talk more about this 1.6 litre engine. So as I've mentioned, it's got 113 brake horsepower. It also has a measly 156 Newton meters of torque. It's not much, is it? But to be honest, this car isn't designed for performance, of course. It's designed for everyday family life. However, in case you are interested in the performance stats, this car will hit 62 miles per hour in 11.9 seconds and continue to a top speed of 107 miles per hour. No matter which engine you go for, it will be naturally aspirated. Therefore, it does need to be revved quite hard to make any kind of progress. But this engine does feel, I would say, a little bit old hat. It's not the most green, it's not the most frugal. It emits 149 grams per kilometre, which nowadays is a fair amount. And in regards to fuel economy, you're looking at 43.5 mpg on a combined run. This 5-speed manual gearbox is pleasant enough to use. Changes are pleasant, they're not too bad. I wouldn't go so far to say they're slick, but it's better than what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be quite long and notchy, but no. I'm quite pleased with how this changes gear. The clutch pedal does feel a little bit spongy though. It has got a bit of a spring to it as well. It's also quite high. Not only is the clutch pedal quite high, but for me, I find the brake pedal to be quite high as well. And going from the accelerator to the brake, it's not very comfortable. I reckon for a long distance it would create a little bit of strain for your right ankle. The brakes aren't overly strong. The brake pedal does need quite a lot of pressure through it before you really start to slow down. One thing I don't like about this car is there's nowhere to really put your left foot. There's no footrest and there's not a lot of space between the edge of the footwell and the clutch pedal, so I don't really know what to do with my left foot. It's kind of just looking for somewhere to rest itself. So let's talk about safety. As you would expect from the Duster's price point, it's not exactly loaded with a raft of safety equipment. You get the usual safety kit, such as 6 airbags, speed limiter and seatbelt reminder, but that's about it. As a result, Euro NCAP only awarded this car 3 stars, which may put some family buyers off. Features such as autonomous emergency braking aren't available on any trim levels, but the Prestige model does get blind spot warning. The new Duster has brought in quite a few changes. It's got more technology, so for example, the top of the range model has got keyless entry and climate control. It's a nicer place to be in here. Yeah, okay, there's still quite a lot of hard, cheap plastics, but you really can't complain about this car having that when it's so cheap. Like the previous model, the new Duster is available in 4 trim levels: Access, Essential, Comfort and Prestige. Access starts from £9,995 and, as you would expect, is a bit spartan for features. You get LED daytime running lights, front electric windows, 6 airbags, remote central locking, and that's about it. Essential is priced from £11,595 and is able to add body coloured front and rear bumpers, air conditioning, height adjustable driver's seat, DAB radio and Bluetooth. Comfort, which is the model tested here, starts from £13,195, offering 16-inch alloy wheels, front seat armrest, leather steering wheel, rear parking camera and rear parking sensors, electric front and rear windows, 7-inch touchscreen, navigation and heated and electronically adjustable wing mirrors. Last but not least, you have Prestige, which starts from £14,395, adding features such as 17-inch alloys, multi-view camera, blind spot warning, climate control and keyless entry. This car does feature a touchscreen, which, as you would expect for a car of this price, it is quite basic. However, it appears to work quite well. Radio, yeah, go back to home, media. It is actually quite quick actually. It's obviously not the slickest in the business. However, it works well enough. This touchscreen also has navigation as well. The graphics are okay. I've definitely seen worse. In an effort to give the impression of more space in here, the windscreen has been brought forward by 100mm, and I have to say, front space does feel pretty good. I've got plenty of headroom, shoulder and elbow room is pretty good. There's a good amount of space between me and my passenger, and I even get an armrest. There we are, very nice. Comfy. Space in the back could be better though, particularly for taller passengers like myself. I'm 6'2". Rear legroom is pretty tight and headroom isn't much better either. However, it should be absolutely fine for children and smaller adults. In regard to the boot, as I mentioned earlier, if you go for the 2-wheel drive version, you get 445 litres, which is pretty respectable. But if you go for the 4-wheel drive model, that is cut down to 376 litres. The inside is very easy to navigate. There's not too many buttons. The buttons I do have are logical. Got knobs for the aircon. Got a few other buttons down here to turn the stop-start off and to turn the parking sensors off, and of course the hazard button. Right, so let's see how this car is in the corners. Obviously, handling won't be this car's forte, but let's see what it's made of. Yep, as you would expect, there's a fair amount of lean. Even at speed, steering is still quite light, which is fantastic for manoeuvrability, but not fantastic when it gets twisty. But again, I'm kind of losing track of what this car is about. It's all about offering cheap motoring. It's very good value. It comes with a lot of kit. And even though I'm doing about 44 miles down here, it's quite peaceful in here. There is a bit of noise coming in, I won't lie. The new Duster has halved the amount of noise coming into the cabin thanks to better soundproofing. And I have to say it's worked. Although the Duster is a cheap car, you can still have it with four-wheel drive if you so need such a functionality. But this car is two-wheel drive. In case you're wondering if you're thinking about buying this car as an off-road, well, not this one because like I say, it's front-wheel drive, but each Duster has got a ground clearance of 210 millimeters, which is quite a lot actually. So to conclude my very short time in the brand new Dacia Duster, for an SUV that's this cheap, you can't really argue with the value it offers. Okay, it's not the best car to drive, and the engine choices could be better. However, if you're looking for a cheap family runabout that can also go off-road, if you go for the four-wheel drive model, of course, you can't really beat the Dacia Duster. It offers good value. It's quite spacious in here. Okay, rear space isn't fantastic. Boot's not too bad either though. And it won't rob your wallet of lots of money. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, give it a massive thumbs up. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click that bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. And if you aren't subscribed, guys, what are you waiting for? Be sure to subscribe for more car obsession.